कवीनामुपवस्त्रवस्त्रमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पद आनुशृण्वोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ महागणाधिपतये नमः। हरिः ओम् हरिः ओम् हरिः ओम्। ॐ केशवाय नमः, ॐ नारायणाय नमः, ॐ माधवाय नमः, ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः, ॐ विष्णुवे नमः, मत्स्ये नमः, त्रिविक्रमाय नमः, वामनाय नमः, श्रीधराय नमः, ऋषिकेशाय नमः, पद्मनाभाय नमः, दामोदराय नमः, संकर्षणाय नमः, वासुदेवाय नमः, प्रद्युम्नाय नमः, अनिरुद्धाय नमः, पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः, अधोक्षाय नमः, माय नमः, अच्युताय नमः, जनार्दनाय नमः, उपेन्द्राय नमः, हरे नमः, श्रीकृष्णाय नमः। हरि ओम। We came to 17th chapter of the 6th canto, or Shashka Skanda. Shashka Skanda, that is Skanda 6 and 17th chapter of Bhagavata Purana. In this chapter, after getting the blessings of Sankarshana, Narayana, Chitrakethu, the king of Vidyadhara, became very, very humble to Sankarshana, and when Sankarshana disappeared, Chitrakethu keep on watching the direction he went in the sky. Then with his blessings, power and everything, he got a Pushpakamana type vehicle for him, his mind, and he started moving over the atmosphere in the Pushpaka Viman. He is a Mahayogi. Chitrakethu is a Mahayogi. He's a get blessed by Narayana. So he got all on his, he went on go around in the atmosphere in the Vimana. He visited so many hundreds and thousands of people in the thousands of places, and was by the sages, the perfected souls, and the monks praised for him being a great yogi. He was pleased to stay in the valleys around Kulachalendra, that is Mount Sumeru, where one exercise for the different forms of perfection. He took great delight in persuading the wife of Vidyadhara to praise the Supreme Personality, Lord Hari. One day, roaming in the brightly shining heavenly vehicle that he had received from the Lord Vishnu, he saw Lord Shiva surrounded by the perfected souls and the singers of the heaven. He had his arm around the goddess Parvati, who sat on his lap. Chitrakethu started laughing loudly about the presence of the sages. In the presence of the sages, addressed the mother, hearing him. He laughed because Parvati is sitting on the lap of Ishvara, and Ishvara has put his left hand on around the back of Parvati. Chitrakethu became amused, and he started laughing loudly about it in the presence of the sages, and then addressed the mother Parvati, hearing him. Chitrakethu said, "This spiritual master, Lord Shiva, of all the world, who is the direct representative of Dharma for all embodied souls, sits here as head of an assembly while embracing his wife Parvati, with his hair matted, supremely repentant, following the Vedic principles and presiding a gathering. He is sitting there unashamed, hugging his wife, woman Parvati, like an ordinary materially motivated person. Normally, even conditioned souls embrace their woman in private, but this one, master of woe and austerity, enjoys his woman in assembly." Sri Shuka Maharishi said to Parikshit Raja, when the great lord of fathomless intelligence heard that O king, he only smiled and remained silent. Ishvara didn't react, so he kept silent, and so Did everyone in the assembly keep quiet? With him unaware of the might of Shiva, thus speaking against all etiquette, the Parvati Devi became angry. Addressed the impudent soul. What thought he was so well restrained? Matha Sri Parvati said, and now this soul here would all of a sudden be the supreme controller, the master of restraint, and the one chastise persons like us as being criminal and shameless. It must be so that now the one born on the lotus has no notion of dharma, and that neither Brahma's sons, Bhrigu or Narada, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Manu, who are all in the assembly there, have a clue. Otherwise, they would have stopped our Shiva from breaking the rules. This one is the lowest of all Kshatriyas, he who by whom positioned himself above the gods so impudently was chastised, is the one teacher of all the world. He is the most auspicious, one of the auspicious upon whose lotus feet one meditates. This man therefore deserves it to be punished. This impudent, haughty fellow does not deserve it to approach the shelter of the lotus feet of Vaikuntha Narayana that are worshipped by all the saints. Therefore, O greatest of all sinners, leave this place to be born among the demons of fool, so that this world again belongs to the great ones, and you, my son, no longer will commit any offense. Shuka Maharishi said to the Parikshit, thus being cursed, Chitrakethu came down from his heavenly chariot to propitiate Parvati by bowing his head deeply before her. O son Bharata, Chitrakethu said, folding my hands before you, O my mother Parvati, I accept your curse. That which gods impose upon a mortal is entirely determined by his deeds in the past. Deluded in its ignorance, the living entity is caught wandering around a vicious circle, the cycle of rebirth in this material life, wherein it constantly is subjected to happiness and distress. Neither the individual soul nor anyone else can really be the one who calls down the happiness and sorrow, the illusion and delusion. A person lacking in the awareness nevertheless considers himself or someone else the cause in this matter. What in this maelstrom, this constantly changing flow of the basic qualities of matter, would actually be a curse or a favor? What would be the meaning of a promotion to heaven or fall down to the hell, or the eternal value of happiness and distress? He, the one supreme Lord, by his potencies gives shape to the conditioned existence of all living beings, as also to their liberation in devotional service. He constitutes the reason for their happiness and distress, as also for the position of being elevated above time. He considers no one his favorite or enemy, a kinsman or a found friend, an insider or outsider. He is equal to all, omnipresent and unaffected by the world. In his happiness, being free from attachments, one finds no anger in him. Still, there is a repetition of being born and dying again for embodied souls, the karmic answer of an existence ruled by happiness and grief, gain and loss, bondage and liberation that generated from the energy of the Lord as a secondary creation. Therefore, I do not ask for your mercy to be released from your curse, O angry one. All I want is that you accept my excuses for everything that I have said, and in your eyes, O chasty one, was unbecoming. Sri Shuka Maharshi said to Parikshit, after thus having propitiated these elevated personalities, O persistent conqueror of the enemies, Chitraketu left in his heavenly vehicle while the two were watching and smiling at him. With Narada, the Daityas, the Siddhas, and his personal associates all listening, the great Lord then spoke to his wife the following words. Mahaparameshwara, Rudra said, have you seen my beauty? How magnanimous the servants are, the great souls who have forsaken their sense gratification relating to the Supreme Personality, whose actions are so wonderful. None of the pure devotees of the Narayana are ever afraid to be in heaven on the path of liberation or to have a place in hell makes no difference to them. With the game played by the Lord, embodied souls are bound to the dualities of happiness and distress. Dying and being born and being cursed are favored because they identify themselves with their bodies. The way one may take a flower garland for something else or speaks of qualities of faults in an image on itself. Also, the appraisals of a person that are based upon their lack of insight are deceptive. They who incite to bhakti or devotional service in love for the Supreme Lord Vasudeva possess the strength of spiritual knowledge and detachment and take no interest in any other shelter. Neither I nor Lord Brahma, the Ashwini Kumaras or Narada, the sons of Brahma, the saints of or all the great demigods, other gods, know the true nature of him, of whom we who like to think of ourselves as independent rulers. All are but parts of a partial aspect. No one in particular is loved or disliked by him. He calls no one on his own, nor does he exclude anyone. The Lord, as the soul of all living beings, is the one dearest to all. This greatly fortunate King Chitrakethu is his obedient servant, loved by everyone. He peacefully and equal to all is the love of infallible one, just as I am. Do not be surprised to find the devotees of the Supreme Personality among the people to be the great souls who bring peace and equality. Shuka Maharshi said to the Parikshit, after thus having heard what the great Lord Shiva had to tell her, the goddess Parvati was freed from her doubt and found back her peace of mind. O king, he who, as a great devotee, was fully capable of pronouncing a counter curse against the goddess in resignation, accepted his condemnation, and that he characterized him as a true saint, following Twashta's Dakshinagni sacrifice. He thereafter, because of the curse, was born completely with all his knowledge and wisdom in the demonic species of life and became known as Vratasura. Because of Parvati's curse, Chitrakethu, the king of Vidyadharas, he became Vratasura. And compare with this, my dear Parikshit, was all I had to tell you concerning your question about Vratasura. He who, with an exalted intelligence, appeared in the world as a demon. Hearing this sacred history about the great soul of Chitrakethu, which reflects the greatness of the devotees of Vishnu, one is freed from bondage. Anyone who, remembering the Lord, rises early in the morning to control with faith his voice by reciting this story will reach the supreme destination. So Chitrakethu made unnecessary provocation to Parvati Mata, telling Ishvara in the presence of all saints and assembly of Sanakas, all those, he was holding Parvati on his left thigh and hold the left arm around her. And he laughed at her. That's why the Parvati cursed him to become a monster in the next life. And he fell down from his Vimana, and then he became known as Vratasura in his next life. That was the story of Vratasura's previous history. That is, Chitrakethu is going to born as Vratasura. So we are going to the 18th chapter with a break, 10 minutes.